Hi, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how to get high-ticket coaching clients. This is one of my favorite topics. Obviously, I love to talk about high-ticket coaching, high-ticket consulting. It's something that I've been specializing in for many years. And I remember very distinctly the very first high-ticket coaching clients that I was able to get over the line. It took me a very long time to build my infrastructure to getting clients into my pipeline. But the very first one is the one you don't forget. Is that one that changed everything for me. It made such a huge difference in my psychology, in how I was feeling, in everything. It motivated me getting that first client. And my first client, I sold a package for $2,500. It was great. It was such a great feeling. And I remember going into that sales call and I already knew that they were going to take action. I'd been kind of following up with them for quite a while. I had this a package or something that they could use or work with me on to get a great result. And so this was everything to me. This was a huge shift in my whole business. It was the leapfrog forward in everything that we did. That first client. Now, getting that first client before that was a lot of learning, understanding, building, testing, trialing, doing a whole lot of stuff. And over the years, that was about, I'd say nearly 10 years ago now, that first client came on board. And since then, we've sold millions of dollars of consulting packages, coaching packages, and all different aspects, all the way from $15,000 to $50,000. I just, this last week, sold a client on a $30,000 business coaching consulting package, which has been awesome. Now, when it comes to high-ticket coaching or consulting, a lot of people are stuck. They feel so frustrated. They feel lost. The idea of having high-ticket clients is phenomenal. When you work with people that have money to pay you what you're worth, it is a great feeling. It helps you grow a business. It helps you make profit. It's a much more efficient business model selling to people that have money and want to do business with you quickly. But people are so frustrated these days, and there's a lot of reasons for it, but mostly is they don't have a clear pathway to where they want to go. And I see this a lot with a lot of people that I work with and talk to, is they literally feel like this. They feel like they're trying to get to the top of the mountain, but they don't know how to get to that top of the mountain. It's foggy, it's misty, there's no direction, they can't find a pathway. And all this crazy, conflicting and confusing information out there is just overwhelming. And it gets people just going around in circles and finding themselves oftentimes just giving up. And that's not a good place to be, because when you get this model right, it's a fantastic model. There is so much opportunity where you can make an impact and build a successful, profitable business. And so there are three big core common problems that I see that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to high ticket or getting high ticket clients. I know that this was my biggest barriers when I was going through my journey, and even now building a business and growing and scaling. It's the core things that we're all kind of intrinsically battle, right? And the first one is lack of clarity. Lack of clarity on what the next step is, lack of clarity on what it is your clients want specifically and how to make that happen. Lack of clarity on business processes and how to take the steps to do the next thing. The next biggest thing is public skepticism. Public skepticism is a huge problem these days because there are so many people that are more skeptical now than they've ever been. And you can't blame them because, you know, the way that the internet has evolved and with so many different scams out there, and now AI has added to this layer of skepticism because, you know, there's deep fakes and there's all this stuff that's making people very cautious about what they're doing and who they can trust to do business with. And so your journey to getting those high ticket clients needs to be very strategic and thought out. But breaking through skepticism is a huge barrier, and we're all facing that, and we all have to come up with strategy to do that and make it happen. Thankfully, the internet, with all the technology, also allows us to do that in a very safe and structured way if we know how to plug into it. And a huge common problem I see a lot of people face when it comes especially to finding high-ticket clients or building a high-ticket coaching or consulting business is this fear of failure. This fear that they're not going to be good enough, or whatever they're doing is not going to work out, and it's just going to turn into a disaster, and what's the point of even doing it in the first place? So what I'd like you to learn from this video today, and this comes from my perspective of being in the coaching consulting space for nearly a decade now. We passed $4.2 million in 2 years over the last 2 years. And I want to share with you some of my perspectives about finding high ticket coaching consulting clients. Now, I want you to learn from this video how to ethically stand out. There is a big mistrust, the skepticism, we just talked about it. And if you know how to ethically stand out and be the person or the individual in front of your clients that they want to or desire to work with, that's going to give you a massive advantage. I want to talk about a very core component in this video, which I struggled with for many years until I figured out the real depth of my mindset. And this was high ticket mindset. Having a mindset for this type of business is critical. If you don't have your mindset stuck or fixed on how you're going to do this type of business, or have it set in a way that you can do a high ticket business, you're always going to be going around in circles, worrying about whether what you're doing is the right thing, worrying about if people are ever going to believe you, or having these bouts of imposter syndrome holding you back. And it can be very debilitating if you don't have your mindset in the right place. Number 3, I'm going to talk about finding the perfect clients. How do we find them? Where are they? What does that look like? What does a perfect client even look like for you? And here's the thing, I see a lot of people doing this thing where they trying to attract everybody. They're trying to go down this path of, I can help everybody, or they want to help a specific person. They've got this clarity on their avatar, but their message is right out of whack. And so they're attracting people into their realm who aren't suitable, who aren't their perfect client. And this in itself can cause a lot of frustration. And then the 4th thing I want to talk about is the secret ingredient that I think is very important these days when you're building a high ticket coaching or consulting business, that you need to have or think about, build your business around, to be able to leverage and stand out in this modern day marketplace. With AI right now coming into eventuality, it's one of those things that you have to battle to stay ahead of. And if you don't have this ingredient, it's going to leave you right back at the bottom of the queue. And it's a very powerful ingredient. I'm going to share that at the end of this video. I'm going to help you elevate yourself so that you can become the leader, the coach, the consultant, the expert in your space that you are meant to be. You are called for a purpose. You are called to help and deliver results. Now, this is my first coaching and consulting business. I started out coaching. The very first of my clients which came through this business were people that wanted to increase their cash flow. I'd figured out a way to help them by renting out rooms in their properties. It was a very unique, very tight niche that I was working in. I built a program around that, and from that I built a very successful multi-million-dollar business. And the core principles that I'm teaching you are the big, expensive lessons that I've learned from this business, because we sell to high-ticket clients all the time in the real estate space. People that have got money in real estate, and the right clients are really great to work with. In any business, in any direction that you go, if you find the right clients to work with, it just makes business and doing your whole coaching, consulting stuff just so much more enjoyable. So we were able to leverage our business. We've got a formula that we use that produces really high results from very low ad spend, and it's working like gangbusters. We have coaching clients that we sell packages. This is a $15,000 with an upsell. We kind of end up with about $25,000 at the end. So it's a starting $15,000 package. Then we have these higher level ascension models where we have programs where we're selling them $25,000, $50,000 and up. And $50,000 is our highest. We have clients that are doing $100,000 in packages, which is amazing. And so when you get to that point, it is a really good place to be. When your business is flourishing, you can go out and you can attract clients, you can work with clients that want to work with you. It's a great place to be. There's profit, enjoyment, fulfillment, and going through this process that I'm talking about is very important foundational blocks to finding and attracting high-ticket coaching clients or consulting clients. Now, just to take a step back, the reason we went from coaching to consulting, we do both, is because that we found that after doing the coaching for a while, there was this ascension model, and people, after doing business with us for a while, wanted to do more, wanted more out of this than just what we were initially teaching. And so my very first client that I spoke about, $2,500. It was a huge breakthrough. It was incredible shift in my perspective, in my reality, to figuring out all of these other things. But I found very quickly that the $2,500 I was charging was not enough, because the effort and energy and work that went into getting them from one place to the next was a lot. And if I had kept my price points at that, I wouldn't have felt rewarded, and my clients weren't going to get the deliverables and the service and the outcome that I think they deserved. And so I was doing them a justice by raising up my prices, creating something that worked for them and for me, and in no time we went up to a higher price point. And that was really when things started changing. And so I see a lot of people making big mistakes in the space, right? It's ongoing. It seems to be that people aren't learning lessons for the most part, or they just don't know, right? You don't know what you don't know. And plus there's a lot of confusing and crazy, ridiculous nonsense out there that has people being sucked into these ideas that are just not going to be beneficial. So these are the biggest mistakes I see when it comes to finding high-ticket clients. If you want to run a high-ticket coaching or consulting business, you want to be avoiding any of this. And number one is this: complicated funnels in the beginning, doing challenges, doing webinars, trying to sell low-ticket items, doing all these things. And I tell you, it was hard. It was so difficult because the infrastructure to do all of that stuff meant I had to create everything first before I could sell something at a high price point. Whereas as a coach or a consultant, I could sell something first and then build all the training and infrastructure along the way. That was a much better model for me. So I did all this stuff. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands, probably even close to $100,000 on testing and trying all of this stuff. And eventually I was like, man, this is way too hard. And the minute, and I tell you, it was a total transformation. The minute I got rid of all the confusion, all those low ticket stuff, all the crazy funnels, and I just went down and simplified everything changed. So complicated funnels are not going to do you any justice. You can use some complicated funnels if you're going to scale to $10 million, $15 million mark, for sure. But I don't think it's necessary for 95% of the people that are building successful, consistent coaching or consulting businesses in the high ticket space. You just need something very simple. People that are wanting to spend more money on stuff don't want to waste their time going through little bits of training and watching all these stupid videos and that just so that they can buy something. They don't. I don't buy low ticket stuff anymore. I look for the person that has the most to offer me. If I'm looking to achieve something and with their price point is right and I can see that they can add value, I will spend the money. I will go through the process and not watch. I don't want to watch hours and hours and hours of ridiculous videos that I'm not interested in unless, here's the caveat, unless it's on YouTube and I've done a search about something. Go figure. This brings me into one of the points we're going to talk about, is that people in the high ticket space have poor or no social presence. You're not out there effectively on social media, and you've got all these gurus lying to you and saying that you don't need social media. You can just do all this stuff and sell high ticket without social media. Well, from my perspective, I think that's a lot of rubbish, absolute nonsense. You need to build up your social media presence. You need to be creating content. You can hack this stuff. You can make it faster and better and easier, and I'll show you how. But without your social media presence, you're nothing really. Nobody knows you. Even if you gave the most ridiculous guarantee, I will make you $1 million, and if you don't make it, I'll give you nothing. You don't pay a cent, right? See all these ridiculous guarantees going around. Even if I did all that, I still need to know that person's got a social presence, because I don't want to waste my time, energy, and effort to go down this path and find out that these guys are just, fly-by-nights. I get a lot of people that come to me and cold email me from, every different direction trying to get my attention. I have a filter through my team, but I see a lot of this stuff coming through, and it always boggles my brain when I go and research these people and they've got no social presence. They don't have a LinkedIn profile, or their website that they're using with their emails goes to this page where there's nothing happening. And straight away, I am not going to do business with somebody like that. If I see somebody or want to do business with somebody, I'll go and research them. I'll look at their LinkedIn profiles. I'll look at their Facebook and social media. I'll look at their YouTube presence. And it doesn't have to be fantastic for me to trust them. It just has to be, these guys have an idea of what they're doing. Okay, let's have a discussion now. It's that simple. No social media presence, you're going to struggle trying to find high-ticket clients. Even if you're cold calling and even if you're trying to give out ridiculous guarantees, you need to have social presence. And then there's people that are out there and they're getting overwhelmed with the social media. So they realize, okay, I need social media. Now I'm just going to post a hell of a lot of stuff. I want to be the next Alex Hormozi. I want to go out and I'm going to crush it. But here's the thing. You're a small business owner. You're still growing. You've got to be pragmatic about this. You don't need to post every single day. You need to be systematic about your social media presence because that's going to help you be in control, and it's also going to not overwhelm you. This idea that you have to post every single day is nonsense. The idea of YouTube and Facebook and any social media platform is not how much, it's how consistent you are. So the consistency weighs much more of an impact, in my opinion, because I've seen this over the years when we've been posting on social media, is that your consistency plays a much higher role than how many you put in there, right? So if you have a schedule of a once a week or twice a week, stick to it. The consistency is what's going to give you that launch pad. Stick with it, right? But it doesn't have to be a lot. The next biggest mistake I see is people with their terrible messaging. And it's actually, I shouldn't laugh. It's actually quite sad that in this day and age with AI and with all those advancements of technology that we have today currently, that people still have terrible messaging. If you don't connect your message correctly with your audience, you're not going to be able to stand out. And if your messaging sounds just like everybody else's, guess what? You're not going to stand out. So many people I see have the same boring message over and over again, just with a little bit of a tiny twist to it. Your message needs to be engaging. Your message needs to be able to stand out. Without good, solid messaging, you're dead in the water. Yet still people, time and time again, don't take the value of understanding their message. And the message comes from understanding your clients, right? What does your client want? The next big thing that I see is when you want to attract high-paying clients, there is a missing component. And I think that status is that missing component for a lot of people. And I'll tell you why. The moment I started working on this component, status, in terms of my circle, everything changed. But we'll talk about status in a minute. Status has a double-edged sword. It has to be treated with respect and treated ethically and the right way, because if you think that status alone is going to give you the results, you're going to knock yourself against the wall. This is a huge leverage when it comes to breaking the trust barrier, but it has to be done in the right way. There has to be authenticity and there has to be a connection. And I'll talk about what that means in a minute. And then fundamentally, right, poor performing ads. I used to do a lot of organic stuff. Like I tried SEO, I tried just organically posting, done podcasts, I've done the whole trip. Everything that you can possibly do has been done. I've tried it and it's failed for me specifically. And the reason it's failed is because I don't have the capacity to consistently do content all the time, like religiously. Like a lot of people have obviously got more time than I do, but I don't have that time. Now, I love doing content, I love teaching and helping people, but it comes at a pace that I'm comfortable with. So I turned to advertising. Ads are the building block for everything that we do. When I started realizing that by spending money, I could change everything in my life because it was faster, it was more rapid, and I can get in front of the crowd a lot faster. So you can imagine, there's a whole lot of people doing social media stuff. There's a whole lot of people posting organic videos. There's a whole lot of people doing all this stuff on the internet. And I was at the bottom here when I first started out, like in real estate. This is the first business. I was right down at the bottom and I was like, bugger that. How I have to get stuck at the bottom, constantly trying to grind to get to the top. What do I have to do to get to the top? The light bulb moment struck when I realized that if I put money into this, I can go from being at the bottom right to the top of the stack in a matter of seconds. And it's the same with social media. I can stand out from the crowd just by putting in a little bit more effort and paying to be in front of the crowd. Now, how awesome is that? So you got people that are out there struggling for years and years and years, throwing content into the social media platforms with these big guys, and they're all doing it. They're putting money behind their content, and that's how you stand out. If you want to leverage yourself in your niche, and it doesn't have to be a big budget, this has to be a small budget, you can instantly jump up to a level where you can dominate a specific niche, and then you just follow up, retargeting and follow up. And that's how you build a successful high-ticket coaching consulting business from my perspective. Now, if you've been watching my videos, you know that we have a formula. The formula consists of 3 major components. You can't run a successful high-ticket coaching or consulting business without these 3 pieces, these pillars or phases. First one is equity. You need to have equity. You need to have a product or service that is so desirable that they just can't resist it. And something that you can sell for more than $5,000, $25,000, that should be your initial entry point. When you do that, you can create profit. You can have a business you can take money and put back into the business over and over again. Trust. If you don't break the trust barrier, you're not going to have clients. It's just that simple. So trust is a fundamental pillar to doing this. You need to become so admired they can't ignore you. If you become admired, you break the trust barrier in an instant. And next, control. So many people have already lost control before they've even started. You need to know your numbers. You need to know your infrastructure. You need to have systems, processes, and steps to follow that work for you and your business. But it also needs to be so simple so you can become unstoppable. If you create complicated processes and procedures and complicated funnels and all that stuff, guess what? You're just going to run yourself into overwhelm, burn yourself out, and never get to a point where you're having success. Okay, so please, if you're enjoying this video and you want to learn more about how we help our clients build high-ticket coaching and consulting businesses, how we've been able to build a $4.2 million business in 2 years, then come and join us, subscribe to this channel, and I'll give out as much free information as I possibly can to help you build a successful business as a coach or consultant. Now, this is exactly what I did, right? I have made, in 2 years, $4.2 million, and I've used this exact system. On the outset, if I zoom out a bit, yeah, you can see there's a lot of little pieces that go on. But essentially, it's 1, 2, 3 pages. My entire business runs around 3 pages. 3 pages of a website. We do have a website. You can go and check out coachlaunch.pro. This is our funnel, essentially. And it's 3 pages. A video, calendar, and a thank you page. Everything that we do in our business is built around that. It's not that complicated. It's very simple, but the nuances of this is what makes it, it's the effort that you've got to put into it. So when we talk about getting high-ticket clients, the clients that are prepared, in my perspective, it's the clients that are prepared to pay you what you are worth, and then some, right? You want to have an amount that it costs you to do this thing, plus your ad cost, your expenses, everything, and have a large profit margin, which is your equity, which I was talking about before, equity. If you have that equity or perceived value, you now have a business that can flourish. You can take money out and put back into the business or utilize that money for other avenues or opportunities. But getting a high-ticket client comes down to a whole lot of things. It's not just a straightforward process. It's about the journey a client takes to get all the way to you. Finding a high-ticket client is more than just throwing up ads. It's more than just, having a good funnel or having a good landing page or having a good video. There are multiple pieces of the puzzle that need to work together. And the main thing that I discovered this changed everything for me is that you do not have a traffic problem. You do not have a problem of having an audience. There is a multitude, there's billions of people out there searching online. There is no shortage of traffic. The barrier is that you need to connect what you have to the right people. And in that comes an art and science that you need to work through to make that happen. Now, the beauty of this is that it's a straight line, right? The beauty of it is it's just a straight line. You have something, you want to give it to your clients. Your clients are here struggling with something, and you're going to provide them with an outcome. It doesn't get more complicated than that. You stick to the straight line, you build your system, and once the system is working for you, then it looks after itself, right? The system, once you put all the pieces together, the system does the heavy lifting. You'll never run out of quality clients. And so traffic will never be a problem because there's so much confusion and frustration out there these days, and people are desperately wanting to have a better life, to live better, to live healthier, to live more financially free, to live wealthier, to retire earlier, to do all these things. There is such a high demand for coaches and consultants that you'll never have a problem with having people there to be able to serve. Now, on a typical journey, if you're going out to any audience, you need to create a pipeline for those people to go through, right? Now, they don't know what you deliver, what you can do for them. They know they have a problem. Now, here's the thing. Most high-ticket clients are people that you're going to sell something at a high price point to. Guess what? They're educated. They've already had some kind of results in the past that they've had a failings for. So previous result, or maybe it was good, maybe it was bad, but they've had some previous results. These are the people that are going to be prepared to spend money. Unless, of course, it's health-related, crazy health-related. But for the most part, the stuff that you're dealing with, when people are going to spend more money, is something that's been burning them for a long time. They've had this thing going on in their heads. They've done research. They've seen that there's other stuff out there. They know what they're wanting to do. So they're very aware of their problem and aware that there is opportunity out there. This is not like jumping into the business space and just trying to get people started in something, right? Or just getting people getting into weight loss. These are people that are wanting to excel at something or have something major change in their life from something that has been with them for a while. For instance, some people in the dental space, like you have problems with your teeth. Like maybe as a kid you had problems with your teeth and you grew up through your adult life and you didn't have the finances to do something with your teeth. And then one day you got a good job, you built yourself up, now you've got this capital. For your whole life you've been dealing with this problem of skewed teeth or teeth that are a problem, and now you want to work towards changing that. You have the money, you've gone outside there, you're not going to just jump into the first person that has an opportunity. You're going to see this dentist, you're going to look at this dentist, you're going to look at their websites, you're going to call them, you're going to speak to a few people about this. It's a big investment. The same as in real estate. When people want to invest in real estate, they've been thinking about this real estate thing for a very long time. They've researched, they've studied, they've understood, they know the problems. And so this is the thing that a lot of people in the high-ticket coaching consulting space are doing, is they think that they're dealing with beginners quite often. But you need to take these people on a journey, and they're already out there searching. They're already out there doing some type of understanding of this. And the first job you have is to create curiosity. Curiosity. This is a fundamental building block to a high-ticket coaching consulting business. And curiosity is a powerful mechanism that you can use to drive results. And curiosity comes out of good quality hooks, good quality messaging, showing up where people are. If people are searching for something, being in front of them at that point where they're looking for that thing to happen. Algorithms on Facebook and YouTube both allow for this to happen very quickly. That's where it happens, right? The curiosity. I'm looking for somebody, there's these people, this thing that can happen, blah, blah, blah. I want to find out about the thing. So you jump in front of them, you created this curiosity either through a headline or hook or something, and now they're going to go down this pathway. Shorts create curiosity. You've got, social media in its essence can create curiosity, showing up repetitively. But then they go through a phase where that infrastructure in their mind changes. They now go from curiosity to interest. Once they're interested in something, they now deeper into that research with you. They might want to find out more. Now at this point, if you don't have your ducks in a row, you haven't created the infrastructure for you to keep them going down this path, you'll lose them because there's other people that they can go and work with. But if you know how to get them from here to here, that's your next journey. And getting them from interest to trust is pretty much a machine that happens in our business that is relentlessly building that trust amongst people that have had a touch point with us. And what I mean by that is that we have this engine, right? I call it the Echo Trust Engine, and it's social media posts that we pay for and then retarget, and it keeps our audience warm and engaged and constantly working with us or constantly learning about us. And inside of this, we're creating curiosity and interest constantly. This engine doesn't stop. Ultimately, what we're doing inside this engine, if I zoom this out a bit, is building up something that I'm going to talk about in a minute, and that's a status. I already spoke about this a bit. And in that, we get the clients in this scenario to take action, right? They do an action. And only once they've done an action do we then hit them with ads that are meaningful and want them to go down that path. We call them dragon ads. These ads are a relentless system of advertising that we only target to the people that are the warmest, our perfect client. Right? So going on that journey is about having that mechanism or that infrastructure. Once you've got them to trust you and they take an action, you want them to commit to the journey, right? And usually that's commitment is, I'm going to book on your calendar. And then once you've got them on your calendar, the ultimate next step is to create desire. Desire will get them over the line. That's what we're ultimately doing in this journey. And at the core of this whole journey, because it's a system that incrementally pushes people down the pathway relentlessly. If you don't have relentless commitment and consistency, you never get the result. If you're good at sales and if you're good at this system, even if you get 100 people down to this point and they've come in front of you on a sales call, even a good salesperson is going to close 25, 30% of the deals typically. And so you've got 70% for the most part of people that'll do something after this sales call. Once you've got the desire happening, you've got them all worked up, but for whatever reason, they're not taking action. And so your money is here as well. Never forget that you need a relentless follow-up engine or you're losing or wasting a lot of money. Now, to get high-ticket clients down the pipeline takes consistency. It takes a very streamlined engine to do this. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It just needs to be set up once, and then you follow the steps. We do the same thing over and over and over again. We have our infrastructure that runs, and it does all the mechanics of that. We know in each step where we got to do. We've plugged AI into this as well, so that it helps. This is what we plug this into our clients. Just by the way, if I haven't been clear about this, we help our clients build this engine. The whole purpose of this engine is to create authentic status, right? Authentic status, which I was talking about previously. So at the core of all of this whole system, when you're driving people to desire to work with you so that you can help them, then after the desire, there is advocacy, and that's what you're working towards. People spreading your word, telling the rest of the world about you, testimonials and reviews. So, but you have to get to that point. But what I was getting at previously is that the biggest driver for this whole flow comes down to authentic status. Now, the reason why I believe this be a huge driver in your entire marketing process is this. I've done a lot of research over the years on the topic of building trust. Trust is everything that I try and work out and try and understand. It's a multi-layered and multifaceted dynamic, right, in our society. And I read a lot of research papers around the understanding of trust, how trust is understood in our society and what that means in terms of online marketing and how we can utilize it to drive results. Now, one thing is clear, that when it comes to trust factors, status plays a huge role in getting clients. Now, the problem with status is that it can have a negative perception because it's a double-edged sword. When used the wrong way, people can get turned off from status, right? Bragging, putting yourself in a place where you're not being believable, or bragging about your status. Like, these are the things that people don't like. But after all my research, and I've done a lot of white paper research on this topic, I've discovered that the biggest thing that people want these days is authenticity. People are sick of all the nonsense out there, and they just want somebody that can speak to them clearly and be real with them. I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and this is the leverage point, right? This is a secret sauce to standing out from the crowd. Status and authenticity. Now, status, intrinsically, when you dive deep into status, what that means is being recognized. So Being recognized means that people have seen you over and over and over and over again, popping up in all these different places in social media. It's a key ingredient to status. That's one side of it, showing up. I'm simplifying a very complex and very multi-layered discussion here, but showing up is a huge factor on status. Consistency in your message, in your brand, and in your whole setup of your flow, of your funnel, is important. How you speak to people, how you connect with people, all that type of stuff. Your brand fits into that as well. And brand on its own is also a huge status indicator. And I don't think a lot of people in the high ticket space actually put enough value on brand. This is not about spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on branding and websites and all that stuff. It's about having a clear image of who you are and what you can do. The colors you use are important. How you structure your writing, the fonts that you use, like it's the basic things. If you keep it clean and neat and tidy, it doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be consistent and congruent. And that brings me to another one, congruency. Congruency plays a huge role in all of this as well. So these are the key ingredients of online status that can give you leverage. These are the ethical ways that you can go about building your own status and overlaying that with authenticity. Status done in this way is going to give you more leverage, I believe, than anything else there is to break through the trust barriers. When people see you as an expert, see you as somebody that's showing up and being consistent, has a clean image, is congruent, has good messaging, is authentic, you are not going to have a problem finding the right types of clients. It's that simple. In everything that we do in our business, this is our fundamental principles or building blocks to finding the right clients. Because then when we understand that, we go back to here where we understand our perfect client. That means knowing exactly who they are, what they're doing. We then know the messaging that we can create for them. We then have a framework that we work with for our clients. We're taking them to do some very important things, and this is our journey that we go on. It's a very clear message. Our branding is neat, whole imagery is neat. We try and keep it clean and tidy so that we're building that status. And if you do it the right way on social media, this is where your most powerful leverage is. Right now, social media is the pinnacle of being able to leverage your status, ethical status, authentic status. I'm not talking about the bad status. I'm talking about the good status, where people look up to you and want to work with you. If you do this the right way, you are not going to have a problem with it. And like I said, there is no shortage of traffic, right? Billions and billions and billions of people are on these two platforms, YouTube and Facebook. But social media, creating a flow of content regularly, like consistently, doesn't have to be a crazy content. It just has to be well thought out. You then get your clients on that social media to take a specific action, because when they take that specific action, like for instance, view a page, click on a link, download something, whatever that specific action is, you now know that all the thousands of people that you've got on social media are not, all of them are not your perfect client, but there are people in there that you want to filter out and then get them to take action. You can do this through very strategic retargeting, where you're retargeting people and you're filtering them. You create an ads funnel to drive them into that action. When they're taking that action, you now know, boom, right away, you can send specific marketing material that's going to help them drive over the line. Because at this point, when they're doing that thing, that action, they are super hot. They're ready to go. Now what happens is when they're ready to go, you've warmed them up through your paid social media. But if you want to stand out, you put some money behind your content, it's going to give you a leverage position that other people won't have, right? If you can understand that, it'll help you go nuts with your marketing. That warming up process and driving them down this pipeline, by the time they get to you or your sales team, that script that you have, that selling machine, it's working so well that the conversion rates go up. It's so much easier to sell. Instead of selling 25, 30% close rate, you're selling 50, 40, 50% close rate, because those people are ideal clients. Now the whole selling process becomes easier. And now when you're following up with the people that fell off, it's just a much more streamlined and fluid process. So I hope this has been very helpful for you. If you have any further questions or if you want me to dive deeper into anything, please comment below. I love the love. I want to hear your feedback, your thoughts, what you're thinking about your business and what you're doing right now to build your high-ticket coaching system. If there's anything that I can help you with, please feel free to reach out in the description below. Post a comment so that we can get some feedback and understand what you're struggling with and how we can help create better videos and systems to help our clients and help you grow your business. So thank you very much for joining me. In the next video, we're going to talk about control, how to build a business and have systems in place and what that means for you. For now, please go and watch this next video in the next series of our Coach Launch Formula. My name is Matthew White. I'm so grateful to have you with me today. I will see you in the next one. Take care.